Hey everyone, it's Mike from Destinations to Travel coming to you live today from Universal Studios, Florida. Hope everyone's having a great day so far, and I hope you're ready to take a walk around Universal Studios, Florida. We are here mostly for an update on Halloween Horror Nights. Lots of props have popped up since the last time we were here. We still don't have any new announcements, so we don't officially know any of the new things coming to Halloween Horror Nights this year, but we are just over 3 weeks out from the start of Halloween Horror Nights, and we'll probably get back out here one more time before the event starts, and then of course we'll be here plenty of times during the event. But we're going to take a walk around today and see some of the props that have been added to the streets for some of the scare zones that, again, have not yet been officially announced, so we don't know exactly what they are yet. Of course, the way these things work, we'll probably get an announcement later today after we take a walk around. But, you know, we'll get an idea of what we can expect to see during this year's event based on some of the props we're going to see. Now, for those of you who have not followed along with these videos in the past, first off, we do weekly live videos from the parks, so you can be sure to like, follow, subscribe. We're live streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. But we took a walk around and kind of walked through everything probably 3 or 4 weeks ago, something like that. And I'll give you kind of an idea of what to expect here. So if you're not familiar with Halloween Horror Nights, what they do is they do 10 haunted houses and 5 scare zones throughout the park. So the scare zones are just areas in the park you don't have to wait in a line for, just all sorts of creepy characters out in the streets. And this is one of them. This will be the first one as you enter the park. Well, depending on if you turn right to go into Hollywood over here, which we'll walk through in a little bit. But if you go straight into Production Central, this area here right by Despicable Me Minion Mayhem, this will be the first scare zone. And you can see some of the lighting trusses up here. No props or anything just yet. It's going to be interesting because usually the soundstage here for Shrek 4D, the former Shrek 4D soundstage, is used for a house. And you would have guest queuing for the house right over here. And then you would have all sorts of props out here. Things are kind of narrowed by these construction walls. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do this year. I'm sorry, I've been ignoring the comments. Good morning, Jack. Hi, Jenny. Hope you guys are having a great day. But yeah, not too much to see in this Production Central scare zone just yet. Again, just some lighting trusses out here. This is typically one of the least elaborate scare zones just because there's not a ton of space to work with here. But they have done a really, really great job with it in the past, so I'm excited to see what they do here. And then, of course, we've got, like I pointed out over here, the Minions construction walls. We've got Minions construction walls across the way here in front of the former Monsters Cafe. I guess we can expect some Minion-themed attraction and or dining. Probably both would be my guess. We don't have an official announcement as to when or what that will be, but I'm definitely excited for it. Again, this used to be Monsters Cafe. You can still see the characters spinning around up there. Frankenstein's monster, the creature from the Black Lagoon, and the Wolfman. Still spinning around on top of that little snack stand. But no Monsters Cafe anymore. This is probably, my guess, would be a Minions Cafe like they have over in Universal Studios Hollywood. But like I said, no official announcement on that just yet. So we still have the welcome back summer food trucks, which is funny because summer is just about over. This over here is usually the entrance to one of the houses. You can see the, whatever you want to call that, the awning? I don't know. The roof built over here to protect guests walking right under Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket. So this will be an entrance. We don't know where the houses will be laid out just yet. But usually it's one of the big ones. So like the big franchises this year, the big IP, we've got Halloween and we've got The Weeknd. We also have Blumhouse and Universal Monsters. So probably one of those over there. Hi, Jenny. Jenny says, anything Minions would be great. I'm so sad that about Monsters Cafe. That was one of my favorites. And yeah. I'm upset about Monsters Cafe too, but I will be honest, I never really ate there. I went in there for some of the special Halloween Horror Nights offerings a few times. It was just a really, really cool themed restaurant, but not one that I would typically eat at. But yeah, I'm really interested in they're going to do the Minions Cafe. I have eaten at the Minions Cafe in Universal Studios Hollywood, and it was fantastic. They had some really good options in there. So I'm looking forward to it. Again, we don't know that that's officially what this is going to be just yet, but it seems pretty clear with all the Minions on the walls over here. This is news to me, by the way. These tents over here have popped up since the last time I was here, which was only a few days ago. And I hadn't seen anything on Twitter or anything, but tents have popped up for Halloween Horror Nights food and drink offerings. There are always food and drink offerings over here in this area. Usually this is set up as a bar here too. I'm guessing they're not going to do that just yet because I've seen Transformers using this extended queue quite a bit lately. Also, I wonder if the construction is going to hinder that this year. So it'll be interesting to see if this gets used like it normally does. But we do have some tents over here. And they do specific Halloween Horror Nights food and drink. They've had all sorts of crazy things. Like last year they had Texas Chainsaw Massacre was one of the houses. And they had a whole like barbecue type thing themed to that, which in theory, kind of gross, but the food was really good. Good morning, April. John says these tents went up last night. Yeah, that's what I thought because, again, I hadn't seen anything about them. So I am excited to start getting some more news about Halloween Horror Nights and the potential offerings for food and drinks. Good morning, Andre. Okay, so we're coming into our next scare zone here. This is New York, but before we really talk about the scare zone itself, we got to talk about the tribute store. The summer tribute store, you guys remember we checked out in a couple of previous videos, was the tribute theater, and they had 3 rooms dedicated to E.T., Jaws, and Back to the Future. As you can see, the theater is now closed. Now, they have done a really, really awesome job of storytelling with this tribute store. If you remember in the last room, or really the exit, not even a room, there was just sort of a cutting table where you had all of the film reels and things like that. And they started adding newspaper clippings telling the story of this theater over time, going back to the 1800s. And when the theater opened, first of all, it was a theater, not a movie theater. Obviously, in the 1800s, it was a normal like playhouse. And once that closed and they turned it into a movie theater, it started to have some weird things happening to it. The owners of the theater went missing, and their office was found filled with candy. And then the son of the theater took it over, and then the mayor hired somebody, a candy maker, to hold a special Halloween event in this area. And then that candy maker turned out to not be such a great guy. So there's a whole story being told there. And basically the theater was shut down and left and believed to be cursed. And so nobody should be going into this theater, except this is probably going to be the facade of the tribute store. We're going to re-enter this theater long after it's been shut down. You can see it says closed on the signs here, but they'll transform this into the Halloween Horror Nights tribute store that they do every year. And they've already told such a great story for this. So I'm really, really excited about it. And so, like I said, there was a part of the story involved the mayor holding a big Halloween event and reopening the theater and using it as a Halloween attraction. And it didn't go so well. It ended in a horrible tragedy. So the idea here is that this scare zone is going to spill out from the tribute store and sort of continue to tell that story. And so we're going to be taken to the remnants of that Halloween event. You can see it's set up over here. Here's the candy maker, Major Sweets, who, again, kind of the villain of this story here. And you can see the Bicentennial Hometown Fall Halloween Festival Parade. Things clearly didn't go so well for this Halloween event. So we're really excited about what they're going to be doing with this scare zone. Looks like it's going to be very like classic Halloween, you know, jack-o'-lanterns and that sort of thing. So I'm really interested to see what this scare zone looks like, what the costumes are going to look like. I can't wait. Rob chomping at the bit for the next Halloween Horror Nights announcement. Like I said, the way these things tend to work out, we'll probably end up getting an announcement today after today's video. That's just the way it tends to go for me. I want to point out the orange lights hanging in the tree here, very like big bulb with classic Halloween decorations. And then you've also got them hanging across the streets in New York here, which is really, really cool. Can't wait to see what this scare zone looks like when it's full go. Ooh, Rob asked, was the last announcement on a Tuesday? I don't remember. Last announcement would have been the weekend, right? Oh, we're going to take a quick break from Halloween Horror Nights, by the way. We've got the Mummy characters out here, meeting and greeting. Although not so much greeting because they don't talk. But Revenge of the Mummy remains closed. You can see the Museum of Antiquities is currently closed for scheduled maintenance, reopening late summer 2022. So we expected a while ago, mid-August. Today is August 8th, so we're getting very close. You can see they are set up for an outdoor queue here. Uh-oh. All right, so Jenny wants me to convince everyone in our Destinations to Travel Ohana to come with us to Halloween Horror Nights in October. Destinations to Travel is going to have a lot of content coming to you from Universal Orlando Resort, I should say, in October. So Halloween Horror Nights should be a part of that, you guys. You should come check it out. Even if you're not a big horror person, I know you're theme park people, and it will blow you away. I mean, I was not a big fan of horror before coming here, but it's incredible. They do such an amazing job here for this event. So I highly recommend checking it out at least once. I more than likely, based on all the people I've brought to Halloween Horror Nights over the last 5 years, you're going to get hooked. Rob says the last announcement was Tuesday, July 26th. So maybe another Tuesday announcement here. Hello. So again, the characters out here for Revenge of the Mummy. This is not reopened yet, but the fact that they're out here kind of tells me we're not far off. Kind of on mummy watch these days. Good morning, Helen. Christina says, I'm still going to hold down the fort at Margaritaville and listen to your screams from there. I mean, you might hear some screams from all the way from Margaritaville. That's very possible. Another prop here. You can see a little photo op type thing for this New York scare zone with the classic fall and Halloween look. Whenever you see tarps like this, that means there's probably some sort of gruesome prop underneath, because they will cover that up for the normal day guests. So we'll have to wait and see what that is. You keep seeing construction walls around here, by the way. They are just doing some pavement work all around the park. We've seen some of that going on all over the place. Again, stepping away from Halloween Horror Nights, we want to share some more details on Revenge of the Mummy. And Sahara Traders, which has been the Universal Monsters tribute store recently, has completely transformed back into the Mummy gift shop. Let's pop in and check out some of the new details here. So if you're not familiar with this location and this park, this building used to house Kongfrontation, King Kong-based attraction, long before it became Revenge of the Mummy. And so they are tying the story of King Kong in with the story of the Mummy. Now, this attraction was based on the Brendan Fraser franchise. Oh, I haven't seen this guy. So we're kind of getting the vibe that Brendan Fraser is not really going to be a part of this attraction anymore. However, it is still tying to that franchise, because if you look at some of the details around the shop, you'll see letters from Jonathan Carnahan, who is the brother-in-law from those Mummy films, and he's actually writing to Mr. I think it's Carl Denham. Actually, you can see one of the details on the map over here on the floor. I lost it. It was around here somewhere. I'll find it. I think it's Carl Denham. If you're familiar with the King Kong franchise, he is the man who brought King Kong to New York. He is the very greedy businessman who tries to capitalize on things like this. And now he is trying to get in touch with Evie and Jonathan and Rick. That's Brendan Fraser's character. Rachel Weisz is the one who plays Evie in the Mummy films. And he's trying to create a new exhibit based on the living mummy, and trying to use the Book of the Dead to raise the mummy again and capitalize on him. You can see some King Kong mentions here. So again, I really like the way they are subtly putting this story together. And Evie is not so thrilled about the idea of working with Mr. Denham. But Jonathan, on the other hand, is a very opportunistic kind of guy, and he is happy to sell him everything he has tied to the mummy, and even point him in the direction of a new tomb. So, looks like Jonathan and Mr. Denham are going to get us into some trouble here. So I'm really excited for the new story of this attraction. I can't wait to see what it's like. Can't wait to see what other nods to King Kong they have in here, because I love when they, feature some throwback sort of Easter eggs like that for the park. I love that they've included King Kong in the storytelling. All right, back out onto the streets of New York, where it is much warmer than the air-conditioned store that I was just in. By the way, I got to get out here at 9 in the morning more often, because look how nice and open the streets are. Also, you'll notice more props all the way down here. The scare zone typically stretches out to this crosswalk over here. And if you are coming to Halloween Horror Nights and you don't necessarily want to be, immersed in the horror, you can kind of avoid the scare zones for the most part. And once you are out of the scare zones, they're not going to chase you around the park or anything. It's not designed to really ruin your night. Like, they're trying to have fun. So if you're not real big on horror and you want to avoid some of the scariest things, you can easily do that while still enjoying the event. Another prop here under tarp. So can't wait to see what this scare zone is going to look like. Rob, it is a lot cooler right now. You're right. Very nice out today. You can actually probably hear that breeze coming through. But I'm sure it's going to get hot. As John points out, with early park admission for resort guests, and I believe pass holders too. Actually, I guess that depends on the day and the type of annual pass. But early park admission gets you into Islands of Adventure, where people will rush to get on Hagrid's Magical Creature Motorbike Adventure. So, yeah, Universal Studios, not necessarily so busy first thing in the morning. All right, crossing over into the San Francisco area of the park. You can see Fast and Furious Supercharged over here. This is actually going to be used as a location for one of the haunted houses this year. Now, this hasn't been used in recent years. However, going back a ways, when this was still Disaster, they would use this queue over here for some of their haunted houses. So nothing too new, but curious to see how the new attraction impacts this area. We're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to take a walk back here. Let's look out on the water. A little detour here today. Nice outdoor seating area back here behind Richter's. And I'm just going to have to continue to try and talk over the copyrighted music. Richter's, by the way, is a quick service, like, burger place. Here you go, Richter's Burger Co. I've actually never eaten here. I tend to get my fast, quick service options over in Springfield on Fast Food Boulevard. But I've heard good things about Richter's. People like it. So here's a nice view out on the water. Really nice seating area back here that is kind of often forgotten. Although on a busy day, it will be full and you won't be able to find any open tables, but always worth a shot. And this brings you back out around the other side by Chez Alcatraz. Nice little bar out here. Ooh, there are some new props over here for the San Francisco Scare Zone. And it looks really cool. Okay, so we are back out in front of the Richter's building, which is also attached to the San Francisco Candy Factory. And now you'll see more lighting trusses here, which lets you know we are entering another scare zone right over here by the wharf sign. And so you see a bunch of lighting trusses. These have been here for a little bit now. But this prop over here is brand new, and this is awesome. It's a whole stage. Looks like they're gonna have like a little show over here, which they do occasionally. Some of the scare zones have like not a long show or anything, but they will set up some, like, I don't know another word for show. It's a short show. It's got this cauldron here and these like rooms all over the stage. Really, really cool. So this is going to be interesting. This scare zone, again, we don't have announcements for any of the scare zones. We don't know what anything is going to be just yet, but rumored to be a witch-themed scare zone, and this prop fits with that. This big cauldron. You'll probably have some witches up on the stage doing some sort of ceremonial something. So this is going to be interesting. I'm excited to see what this looks like. And again, you got lighting over here. You'll probably have a few more set pieces. I would guess not too many because this area, as you can see, not a huge area to walk through, pretty narrow. So they can't really create too much of a choke point. But I'm excited to see what else gets added to this scare zone because that is an awesome first prop to pop up there. All right, so we are exiting San Francisco and entering London. And you'll see some lighting trusses up here. They'll do actually some themed lighting, but no scare zones or anything like that over in the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. You won't see any Halloween Horror Nights stuff. So if you want to escape Halloween Horror Nights while you're here, you can do that in Diagon Alley. Some of the attractions are open for the event, by the way, and Gringotts is one of them. So you can take advantage of some shorter wait times most nights. Some nights it's busy and, you know, the rides are still going to have longer wait times, but a lot of nights you can get out here and hop on Gringotts for, you know, with a shorter wait than you would normally see. I'm going to head into Diagon Alley, just take a walk around, see what it looks like this time of day. And in the meantime, if you want to plan a Halloween Horror Nights trip or any trip to Universal Orlando Resort, you can head to d2travel.com or send us an email at info@d2travel.com and we can start planning that for you today. So you can see still more guests than we've seen elsewhere in the park, but much more manageable this time of day than what you would see in the middle of the afternoon. Jenny says, I'll be enjoying Diagon Alley at night. Can't wait. Yeah, it is always fun to just take a walk through here because, like I said, Diagon Alley during Halloween Horror Nights is not typically very busy. So you can basically walk through here at night with crowds pretty much like this, which is nice. I do wish they would be able to do some Halloween Horror Nights stuff here in Diagon Alley because it's perfect for it. They would make such a great scare zone in here, but unfortunately they are not allowed to do that. However, over in Islands of Adventure, last few years, they have been introducing the Death Eaters in Hogsmeade, and you can interact with them. They go around, they actually like challenge people to duels. There's lots of interactive points that they use their magic on. It's a really, really cool show and sort of meet and greet type of thing. So if you're here during the Halloween season, don't think that all the Halloween fun is here at Universal Studios Florida. Most of it is, but those Death Eaters are really, really cool to see over in Islands of Adventure. All right, I'm not going to actually go through Nocturne Alley because we typically lose service in there, so I'm going to turn back around and go down that main street as we head out of Diagon Alley. Give you a look at the dragon first. And by the way, Diagon Alley at night. I don't know if we've ever done a nighttime video here, but Diagon Alley at night is spectacular. Definitely worth checking out. That air conditioning coming out of Nocturne Alley feels really nice. Head back out to London. You can see the night bus right here. Night bus driver not out here right now, but he is normally out here throughout the day meeting and greeting with guests. One of the coolest meet and greets you'll find in the park too. I've said this before, I'm not a big Harry Potter fan. It's not, you know, not one of my go-to franchises. However, they knocked it out of the park here with Universal. And the Night Bus Driver is one of those really, really awesome meet and greets that I highly recommend stopping and checking out if you have the opportunity to do so. Again, if you're just joining us, we're taking a walk around. Oh, speaking of the Night Bus Driver, here he comes. Hello. Anyway, if you're just joining us, we're taking a walk around Universal Studios Florida. We are checking out some of the Halloween Horror Nights props that have been popping up as we get ready for the event to start on September 3rd. 2nd? 3rd? Whatever the Friday is. 2nd, right? I don't know. So we are just over 3 weeks out from the start of Halloween Horror Nights. Still no announcement for this show either. Back here in the Fear Factor stage. Thank you, Jenny. September 2nd. September 2nd. Friday, September 2nd is the start of Halloween Horror Nights this year. But like I was saying, no news on the Fear Factor stage over here. Still not being used for normal park operations. However, it is used for a Halloween Horror Nights show, and we don't know what that is just yet. Last year was a show called Nightmare Fuel, which blended dancing and danger acts and magic, and it was really, really cool. So expect something like that, but we're not sure what it will be just yet. Oh, I should mention one of the other things it blended was pyro. Lots and lots of pyro. There was a lot of fire. Hey, Steven. Thanks for joining. Now we're coming back past Men in Black Alien Attack over here. And you can see some special lighting in place. They usually project like an HHN logo up here on the building. Now, let's see, if we had a 45-minute wait for Gringotts over there before, what does Men in Black look like right now? 10 minutes. So there you go. While most of the guests at Universal Orlando Resort right now are probably over in the queue for Hagrid's Magical Creature Motorbike Adventures, and for good reason. It's a fantastic attraction. Most of the attractions over here at Universal Studios Florida do not have much of a wait. Last time we were here, there were some construction walls over here. They were doing some pavement rework, which you can actually see the difference in the shades of the pavement over here. So this is usually an entrance for two different houses over here, which I want to point out too, that there's no buildings over here for them to put houses in. They actually use these giant tents. And you would think the houses that are put in tents wouldn't be that impressive. They are. They are incredible what they can do in a tent. So, you know, don't underestimate those houses. They do a really, really great job with, I mean, what you would think is limited resources in that case. As a matter of fact, that corner back there usually has two of our favorite houses every single year. They do such a good job. All right, we are entering Springfield. And there's the Simpsons ride, which currently has a 15-minute wait. So again, the wait times over here in Universal Studios Florida, not very high right now. Now, there is the trade-off, though. The wait for Hagrid's is going to be long throughout the day. So it's, do you want to go over there and knock out Hagrid's as quickly as possible? Or do you want to take advantage of the short wait times over here? It's a couple of different ways you can play that. Of course, if you do stay on site here at Universal and can take advantage of the early park admission, that's probably the way to go. And I cannot recommend enough staying on site here at Universal Orlando Resort. Their hotels are fantastic. Aventura is one of my favorites. Absolutely love it. We actually are going to be staying at Sapphire Falls pretty soon. So I'm really looking forward to that, which we've stayed there before. It's a beautiful hotel. Probably my favorite pool on property. Out here between Duff Gardens and Moe's. Now, I've said this 100 times in previous videos, but one of the things they do for the season is Dufftoberfest. So they have, right now, all year long, you can get Duff, Duff Dry, and Duff Light. But for the September, October, oh, hang on, I just noticed a detail I somehow walked right past. Didn't even catch it. Now I'm seeing it from across the water, so we'll point that out real quick. But for September and October, maybe the end of August too, they will have Dufftoberfest, an Oktoberfest style beer, obviously. And it is one of my favorites. It's so, so good. Rob also recommends staying on property at Universal Orlando, especially for Halloween Horror Nights. Anyway, I came over here because I wanted to point out this tent that I somehow walked right past. And, well, I mean, I did go on the other side, so I didn't see it from there. But another food and beverage tent popping up over there for Halloween Horror Nights. Usually they'll have one there, and they'll have something over here, or sometimes over there. Usually there's just bars over here, but you'll see a bunch more of those popping up as we get closer to the event. Again, they do have special food and drink offerings for Halloween Horror Nights. One of the traditions of Halloween Horror Nights is Blinky Cups. They'll have souvenir cups that you can get their specialty drinks in or beers in that have a little light in the bottom that'll flash a certain color. And there's usually like 4 of them. People like to collect them all. People being me, I'm people. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of cool stuff for Halloween Horror Nights. And again, we'll get out here plenty of times during the event and check it out. Plenty of our Destinations to Travel family is going to be out here for Halloween Horror Nights, and I can't wait for some of them to experience it for the first time. And you'll have a lot of content coming from it. Not just Horror Nights, but also Universal Orlando Resort in general. You can see another tent over here as we exit Springfield. By the way, Springfield is usually not a scare zone. They didn't do anything last year, but in previous years, they have had some sort of characters. It's been either clowns or just like chainsaw maniacs, I don't know, out there, and they're always a lot of fun to watch. But again, they didn't do it last year, so hopefully they come back this year. We'll have to see. But again, another tent over here. And they I don't think they had one in this spot last year, but they did have several over here, which they do again. And you'll see food themed to some of the houses. So I don't know what kind of food they will theme to the weekend, but you know, same for Halloween and classic Universal monsters. Really interested to see what they do there. We got Doc Brown over here, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, he's headed back to the train.
You have a camera? Absolutely. What's your name? Lynn? Where are you from, Lynn? Lynn, are you ready? I'm ready. Let's go. Come on over here. Listen, FYI, that photo made this clear in about an hour. The working time on is 5% chance of the
Doc is another one of my favorite characters in the park. He usually is just kind of wandering around. He doesn't really have a spot that he does end up over there typically, but he will just walk around Hollywood and Central Park and this whole area over here. So you can find him in a lot of different places, and he's always fun to interact with. So again, several tents over here for special food and drink options. Twisted Taters, usually somewhere around here, plus up in the front of the park, and that's one of the really popular choices every year. And speaking of popular choices, Kids Zone Pizza over here will usually be open for Halloween Horror Nights. And between that and Louie's over in New York, they usually offer pizza fries. I can't imagine that they're not going to have pizza fries. It's a staple of Halloween Horror Nights, one of the most popular options. Not my personal favorite. They also have had s'mores fries in the past, and that's my go-to. But for dessert, obviously, I'm not eating pizza or s'mores fries for dinner. But pizza fries are a really, really popular option. It's like almost like a cult classic. Like people love pizza fries for Halloween Horror Nights, and you can usually find them here and over in New York.
She wants to go in because that's where the pineapple is.
I am really interested, though, to see what other special offerings they have, because they do change them out for each event based on the property. So, like when Stranger Things was here, they had waffles, like waffle sundaes and things like that. And like I said, they had the barbecue for Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So I'm really interested to see what they do based on this year's houses. Ooh, great question from Jenny. Will they have any food lanyards for HHN? They have had that for things like Mardi Gras and actually, I guess it was just Mardi Gras. That might have been right. I don't think they have had them for Halloween Horror Nights, and I'm not sure. It would be a great option to have because they do have so many offerings, and people want to try a whole bunch of them. So hopefully they introduce that. Maybe somebody else remembers if they did have that last year. I don't remember them having it. And what Jenny is talking about is for food-based events like this, not that Horror Nights is a food-based event, but they have introduced that. They will offer a lanyard that, you pay a certain amount and you get to try maybe 8 or 10, 12, 15, whatever it is. You get to try a whole bunch of the food offerings for the event. So we'll have to wait and see if they do that. Now, Rob brings up a really great point. Says, I want the soda cup deal from 2018 back. Yes, I do too, and I don't think we're going to see that one come back, unfortunately. That was just too good a deal. I think it was, so there's a souvenir cup that they sold in 2018, and it was one of those big, heavy, with the big plastic bendy straw coming out of it. It was, I think, $30 to $40, somewhere in that range, and you could refill it throughout all of Halloween Horror Nights. So for those of us, us locals who go 20 nights throughout the course of the event, you could just fill your soda every time you came, and that was an awesome, awesome deal. Haven't done that since 2018, though, so I would love to see that come back, but I don't know that we will. All right, 2 more scare zones to explain here, and the first one here is Central Park, and this one is rumored to be based on Scarecrow, which was a house they did 2017, I believe. And it was awesome. It was so, so good. And so this scare zone is bringing that back, supposedly. It's a rumor, again. Nothing officially announced for any of the scare zones. But it looks like they're building an actual structure over here. You can see these trusses that we've seen for lighting. There's no lights on them. And it's, I don't know, vaguely barn-shaped? Like, it looks like they might be building at least the facades of a barn, which could be really interesting because it's almost like you're walking inside in the scare zone here. And you can see a fairly big area. By the way, you can see lanterns hanging up in the tree as well. But yeah, this looks like it'll be really, really cool. If it is in fact Scarecrow themed, and if this is in fact a barn that you'll be walking through, I love this idea so much. This looks so, so cool. I'm sorry. I keep getting distracted by King Julian singing this song right now. But yeah, I'm really thinking like you can kind of picture this being a barn here, them building the roof, and then just probably just a facade and not actually completely closed in. But either way, if you are entering a structure in a scare zone in Halloween Horror Nights, this looks like it'll be really, really cool. Lou brings up the point, I wish they would move HHN back over to Islands of Adventure. They used to do that. They did it for a few years. I never got to experience it over in Islands of Adventure, but from what I heard, and makes a lot of sense, the walkways were just too narrow for Islands of Adventure over there. It just, I don't know. It seems like it would have had some crowd control issues, but I would love to see it, experience it for myself. Now, over here at Cafe La Bamba, you're noticing this brightly orange-colored wall, and that is new as of the last few days. And it looks like they'll be doing a Day of the Dead-themed bar over here. There is a rumored Day of the Dead-themed house, so it makes sense that they would do that. Well, it's really cool looking. I love this. So you'll probably have some specialty cocktails, I would imagine, involving tequila. Probably some food offerings as well. It's exciting. They do a really, really good job with their specialty bars for Horror Nights as well. All kinds of different drink offerings that you can't normally get in the park. So be cool to see what they're offering there. Speaking of, I'm going to head over towards Transformers just to point out another area that typically has some special offerings, which right now is being used for that Welcome Back Summer campaign, I guess to call it. Like, it's not like they're doing it a special event or anything in the park, but they had these food trucks and food and drink offerings around the park. So this area right over here typically transforms based on the season. So like they'll do special offerings for Mardi Gras, they'll do special offerings for the holidays, and they will do offerings for Halloween Horror Nights as well. So you'll see probably a whole lot of beer choices here. Maybe some of the specialty cocktails. They usually do like 3 or 4 specialty cocktails that are like the pre-mixed drinks that you can get in your Blinky cup all around the park. So, you'll see one at one booth and then another at another booth. But then places like this, you'll see either 2 or 3 or all 4 of them offered. So again, lots of special choices for Halloween Horror Nights. All right, so we're gonna head into our final scare zone over here in Hollywood. And these are the props that we saw first. These came up early to mid-July. So these have been out here for a while. They have added some of them. There were maybe like 2 or 3 of them out here the first time I came out and saw them.
Enjoy.
But now there's a whole bunch more. And vaguely vampire themed is all we've got really from these props so far. So we're not entirely sure. It is rumored to be vampire related, but we don't have any announcements yet. Want to point out too, I mean, it's been a little bit now, but Williams of Hollywood, the prop shop, one of the popular stores here, especially among locals, where you could occasionally buy some props that they took out of attractions, like past attractions throughout the parks. I actually own a sign from Dudley Do-Right's Ripsaw Falls over in Islands of Adventure, which is still there. Don't worry, that's not a former attraction. It's still a current attraction. But I have a sign on my wall in my office from that attraction because of that shop. So it was a really, really cool place to walk in and check out what new things they had. Unfortunately, now closed. So again, some of the props here for this vampire theme that we think, at least. This scare zone over here. Lou asked, do I know any of the scare actors? Yeah, well, maybe. I don't know if they're still doing things this year, but I have in the past. And it's funny that, I've come so often during the event, which runs for, 30-something nights, almost 40 nights. I'm usually here about 20 of them. And just from hanging out in the scare zones and, watching the scare actors do their thing, which is, by the way, the best people watching you will ever experience in your life, just watching people get scared at Halloween Horror Nights. But just being around so often, I have actually met scare actors, and it's a really, really fun experience if you can come out here and just enjoy the event. A few times, they will recognize you. They do such an amazing job. Actually, let me take the opportunity to just say that the scare actors at Halloween Horror Nights are absolutely incredible. Like, they do such an awesome job. It's such a hard job too. I mean, you don't really think about it, but it's quite a gauntlet to run through for 2 months and be out here, 4 or 5 nights a week, and in these costumes. And it's Florida, so it's still hot even at night and even in October. And they just do such an awesome job entertaining us for 2 months straight. So, thank you to scare actors out there. And Lou says, so much fun, people watching. Also, I would love to be a scare actor some year. I have thought that too. My problem is I love the event too much. Oh.
Are you making a vlog?
It's live.
Oh, I have a blog if you want to check it out.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, Bamba Dinkley.
Okay. So the Scooby Gang, and actually Fred is out there too. I haven't seen Fred in quite a while. He's been missing, but yeah, you guys can check out Velma's blog apparently. Anyway, yeah, I was saying I would love to have that experience of being a scare actor, but I love the event so much that I want to come out here and enjoy it. So it's so hard to choose to actually do that. One of the new things since our last time out here, I think this was new. I don't remember if we saw this last time, but you can actually purchase your picture to go in the Halloween Horror Nights tribute store, and it'll have your little plaque like this. And then after Halloween Horror Nights is done and they're closing the tribute store, you can either come and pick up your picture to keep as a souvenir, or they can ship it to you as well. And you can do this here at the Five and Dime or over at the All Hallows Eve Boutique over in Islands of Adventure, which we're going to have to get out to Islands of Adventure soon too, because that All Hallows Eve Boutique is now classic Halloween themed, like we were talking about in the New York Scare Zone. So it's really, really cool. We're going to have to check that out too. We're going to pop in real quick. I think it's all the same Horror Nights merchandise we've seen in previous videos, but just want to show you that here at the Five and Dime, you can find some of the Horror Nights specific merch, like these ornaments. They have house specific ornaments. There's the Universal Monsters. Oh, that's the only one there. Let's see what else we have over here. Here's the Blumhouse ornament, and here's the Blumhouse shirt. Looks like that's it for all the Horror Nights merch in here right now. Have a good day. They might honestly have pulled some of the Horror Nights merch from there to move over to the tribute store, which they, like we saw before, they're getting ready for Halloween Horror Nights right now. The Scooby Gang, by the way, now taking photos over here, right next to the Born Stuntacular and in front of the Mystery Machine. Also, Velma just told us about her blog. I had never known her last name. Velma Dinkley? Did not know that was her last name. So there you go. Learned something about Scooby-Doo today. All right, so we have done a complete lap around Universal Studios Florida, checking out the Halloween Horror Nights props. We are going to wrap things up over here just after we check out the Universal Studios store and see if there's any new merchandise. But as always, if you want to plan a trip out to Universal Orlando Resort, head to d2travel.com or send us an email at info@d2travel.com and we can start planning that trip for you today. And again, in October, we are going to have a lot of Halloween Horror Nights and Universal Orlando Resort content coming your way. So if you can't get out to experience Halloween Horror Nights, at least we can share some of it with you. We'll also be doing some live streams from throughout the event too, so don't worry about that. These live videos will be happening once a week from various parks around Central Florida. You can see the centerpiece of the entrance here, still Jurassic World Dominion right now. We have this big display here. Now I was kind of hoping to see a lot of the Tribute Store merch now that the summer Tribute Store is closed. We do see some of the Jaws stuff, some of the ET stuff, but I'm wondering where I can find that Amity Boat Tours shirt because I might have waited a little bit too long to purchase it. You get this cool ET, Back to the Future, and Jaws shirt. There's still some more of the merch here. But not the specific shirt I'm looking for, unfortunately. Again, Jurassic World Dominion, still sort of the centerpiece right now. You can see a whole bunch of Jurassic merch over here. And this store is always divided up by the franchises. So you'll get your Jurassic stuff here. You can get your Marvel stuff here. Of course, you can get your Harry Potter stuff here. And this area is specifically dedicated to Harry Potter all the time. This will not change because you can see the floor is different. The shelving is different. The walls are different. This was all made specifically for Harry Potter. So if you want to find some Harry Potter merch, you know where to find it. And that goes for any Universal store. They'll always have their specific section dedicated to Harry Potter. Oh, John recommends checking the film vault for the Amity Boat Tour shirt. That's a good idea. I might have to check that out. Film Vault is another shop here in Universal Studios Florida. We've checked it out in the past in previous videos. And of course, you can always check out all of our previous videos on our YouTube, on our Facebook, on our Twitter. They are all there for you to check out, going back several years at this point. We also have a lot of other content on our YouTube channel as well, including hotel tours, hotel room tours, and all sorts of other fun content. So check us out, D2 Travel on YouTube. Be sure to like, follow, subscribe, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. Not necessarily in that order. Ring the bell so you can get notifications when we go live. And again, we will be back next week with another live stream. And plenty more to come from Halloween Horror Nights as we get ready for the spooky season. So thank you everyone for joining me. And I will see you real soon. Bye, everyone.